Green Lantern said, Chase, would you rather smash the hottest trans woman in the world or the oldest woman in the world? Honestly, bro, the oldest woman in the world, because then I wouldn't be gay. Are you like, Chase, how dare you be transphobic?
Yes, actually, what the do you mean? Yes, that was so
Because if I had
unnecessary.
sex with a trans woman, I'd be having sex with a biological man, and I don't want to do that.
Would you personally date a transgender person?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
No.
No. No.
And why is that?
I'm heterosexual.
Would you personally date a transgender person? No, I wouldn't.
Would you date a transgender?
No, I'm a transgender. I like men.
Woo, this could be some hot one. I hope I don't get canceled. Hello everyone, my name is Rogan and this is This Bahamian Gyal. If this is your first time here on my channel, welcome. I discuss sensitive social issues and encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. Y'all ready? Y'all good? Let's go. Your girl is back. I missed y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. Let's jump right in with today's topic. We're talking about heterosexuality, but more specifically, whether someone can truly identify as straight if they have an attraction to a transgender person. Let's first define heterosexuality for the audience. Heterosexuality is described as the state of being sexually or romantically attracted. Here is the key word, exclusively to people of the opposite sex. Now, with the increasing popularity of the trans community, it comes as no surprise that there are some individuals who are looking to that community for dating options. Trans people are not often seen as desirable dating partners for individuals who do identify as heterosexual, and societal attitudes towards them at large have not changed towards the transgender community. There was a study conducted back in 2018 and it was reportedly the first of its kind that showed that biological men and biological women were not open to dating trans people. In that report, it was revealed that less than 3% of straight men and women said they would consider dating a transgender individual. In that same report, it was revealed that gay men were more open to dating transgender people than straight men, and lesbian women were more open to dating transgender people than straight women. For many heterosexuals, they don't view transgender people as viable dating options, even if they respect their personal choices. But the question is, why don't heterosexuals view transgender people as viable dating options? Well, I think there are many answers to that question. Number one, they're straight. They're not attracted to people of the same sex. Now, I am dealing with biological realities, not gender identity, how you identify. I'm talking about biological facts. It's no different from lesbians who don't want to date a transgender woman because that person is biologically male, or a gay man who does not want to date a trans man because they are biologically female. They're attracted to the same sex, biological sex. And so it's the same for straight people who are attracted to the opposite sex. The second reason why people don't want to date a transgender individual is for religious reasons. And I think a lot of times people just kind of brush by or disregard people's personal religious beliefs and the fact that they do not want to date someone who is not the opposite sex. It's the same way that the Bible advises against homosexuality. It's the same thing. So they, for religious reasons, will not date somebody who has transitioned or even of the same sex. They want the opposite sex. And the third reason why a heterosexual person may not be willing to date a transgender person is because there are a lot of stigmas attached to dating an individual who is trans. While mainstream society has started to accept homosexuality, it's still not 100% accepted. And the transgender community has a very long way to go as well. Think about how male celebrities are shamed by gossip bloggers, gossip blogs, whenever their relationship with a transgender woman is exposed, or there's a threat to expose them on some platform for being interested or dating a transgender person. There's a great deal of stigma attached to that because men's masculinity is questioned. People think, well, you're automatically gay, or they'll think, you're not man, you're not a real man. think about how many times somebody has been accused of being suspect because they may have had lunch with somebody who is transgender or done business with someone who is transgender or taken a photo, an innocent photo with someone who is transgender. They immediately put into this camp of being suspect or being a transgender person lover, and they don't even refer to it in that nice way, a transgender, but they will say something very derogatory when someone is involved with a transgender woman in particular. And I'm going to focus on the women here because I don't get that same animosity or bitterness when it comes to when women are dealing with trans men. It's usually the transgender women that bring out the worst in society.
I have to be real with myself and know that, hey, when I tell my friends or if I post a picture with Hope on social media, I might get some drawback and people might question my sexuality even more and say, Sander, you're gay because you're going on a date with a trans woman.
Janet Mock, who is a director, many of you know her from Pose, one of my favorite shows, but she wrote an article several years ago titled How Society Shames Men Dating Trans Women and How This Affects Our Lives. It was a really nice piece. I certainly would encourage any one of you to read it. So she made some really valid points. Of course, I don't always agree with everything people have to say, but I mean, there are things that she said that I did agree with. And let me just read a little bit of it for you. She said, I've stood witness to many so-called scandals, mostly published on gossip blogs, where passing interactions with trans women spawn hundreds of headlines, particularly for a man with fame and social capital. This is true. Thousands of words have been dedicated to analyzing whether such and such famous man is now suspect merely because he took a photo with a fan who happened to be a trans woman. This questioning has led many well-known men to adamantly defend their heterosexuality and has tarnished the reputation and careers of others. It sounds like silliness on the surface, but oftentimes when gossip blogs are the public's only exposure to trans women, it spreads misinformation, validates stereotypes, and causes irreparable damage, which 100% I agree with. I always felt like this is why I don't really care for gossip blogs too much. I mean, sometimes it's great entertainment, but they can really damage someone. They can really damage someone's reputation, and they do it all in the spirit of entertainment. And I think it's just crazy. And you know, to each his own. That's what I always say. But let me read this other part. She says, this pervasive ideology says that trans women are shameful, that trans women are not worthy of being seen, and that trans women must remain a secret, invisible, and disposable. If a man dares to be seen with a trans woman, he will likely lose social capital, so he must adamantly deny, vehemently demean, trash, and or exterminate the woman in question. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I want you all to take a listen to a fellow YouTuber here on YouTube. Her name is Kat Blaque, and I happen to really enjoy her channel. But I want you to just tune in to hear her talk about, you know, just starting to put herself first and love herself more and not being willing to just kind of be some secret love for someone. And that tends to happen a lot, particularly with transgender women. When men date them, heterosexual men date them, they will hide them, so to speak. So just take a listen.
The men who were always in this community were always kind of the same sort of person, you know. They were generally very discreet, generally very down low, generally didn't want anybody to know what they were doing or what their interests were. You know, these were the kind of men who were not comfortable with people knowing that they had an attraction to transgender women, right? And for me personally, at a certain point, that started to become an issue because I started to recognize that I didn't want to have these men give me attention in this one small, shallow space. I wanted somebody who was proud of me in all spaces, you know, who wasn't ashamed to be with me, you know? And so I kind of made a decision, and I can do a whole video about down low men and things like that if you guys want. But I made a decision at a certain point in life that I was not going to deal with those men anymore. You know, I kind of said to myself, if a man can't sit, you know, at a bar with me and have a drink, why would I ever give him access to my body?
I couldn't agree more. I watched enough interviews with transgender women where they talk about having to keep their love on the down low. You know what I mean? Like, shh, you know, it's just us. Don't tell anybody, that sort of thing. And it's like, that must be so hurtful and embarrassing, right? Because when you're in love and you really care for somebody, you want to be on their arm, you want to be, out in the public.
Dating as a trans woman is one of the most complicated tasks of a trans woman's life. So you date women exclusively, or?
Yeah, I date women exclusively. Of course, trans women doesn't make a difference to me. I don't see the sensational aspect of it. I'm just a guy that dates women. It's nothing.
That's impressive. It really is.
Well, thank you, but I don't really I don't want to take the praise for that. I just think guys should just be like that.
Well, I used to be very ashamed of being trans. I think one of the most important reason was that trans brutality, just your chances of losing your life. And I was just afraid to be openly trans. I am openly trans now. I will not ever be a cis woman, no matter what. And that's okay. I am a woman, I'm a trans woman, and I'm proud of that.
Do you think guys just kind of see it as a thing where they have fun with you, and when it's like a relationship, when it comes to something real, they're like...
Yeah, I think I have felt like that in the past. We live in a world where masculinity is toxic.
So let's talk about heterosexuals who say that they do not want to date transgender people. I, for one, certainly believe that people reserve the right to say who they will not date, who they're not attracted to. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that people often label these individuals as transphobic because they don't want to date transgender people. I mean, I wouldn't want someone to be guilt-tripped into dating me. If they're truly open to dating trans men and trans women, then they should be left alone to do just that. And individuals who say, nope, not my cup of tea, I'm not interested in that for religious reasons, I'm not interested in it because I just could not see myself with someone who biologically is the same gender, or whatever, they should be respected for their decision as well, as long as people don't get nasty. I always say people can turn you down if don't be nasty, but the thing is, it doesn't matter how polite some people say it, how kind they are, how gentle they are in saying no thank you, I'm not interested. They're often bashed over the head as being closed-minded, bigoted, and transphobic. So let me just lead the way here and say, because I know the question is going to come up, and I ask you all questions all the time. So let me ask myself the question. Let me answer the question. Would I date a transgender person? The answer is no. I would not be open to it. I would not date a transgender person for religious reasons, number one, and number two, I'm just not attracted to transgender people. I'm heterosexual. I like biological men who present as men. That's my thing. It's not to insult anybody who is into it. That is their right. But for me, no, I would not date a transgender person. And I wouldn't be open to it. I'm just going to be honest with you all. I'm not going to lie. I find that a lot of times people, I've been watching these videos, and I encourage you all to go on YouTube as well. And a lot of times people will put a microphone in an individual's face, and you could see the wheels turning in their heads like, oh my God, how do I answer this? I don't want people to think I'm transphobic. I don't want people to say this about me. I don't want people to think I'm a bigot. So I'm going to be like, yeah, I'd be open to it. And then when there's a question followed up like, well, have you ever dated a transgender person? It's like, no.
Would you guys date a transgender person?
I have a boyfriend right now, so I wouldn't. Okay. Yeah, because I'm...
Is he transgender?
In a relationship. No.
I identify as straight, unfortunately, but I feel like I would be open to it, for sure. Unfortunately.
You think that's unfortunate?
That I'm straight? It's not the vibe these days.
I don't like when people lie about stuff like that. And I'm sure there are people who would genuinely be open to it, but I think a good chunk of people are so afraid of being labeled as transphobic that they're just going to be like, yeah, I'd be open to it, when they absolutely would not. That's just my take on it. What I found incredibly interesting was to hear the transgender woman at the beginning of my video. And let me roll that clip again so you guys can hear it. It's very, very short. Here it goes. Boom.
Would you date a transgender?
No, I'm a transgender. I like men.
She wants a man. And we know what that means. She wants a biological man. And by the way, there are people in the transgender community who will call someone like this trans woman transphobic because she doesn't want to date another transgender person. But obviously, I think there are people who recognize that there is a difference. Because there is a difference.
Can I just be real? I consider trans women to be a category of men, not a category of women. That is my opinion as a trans woman myself. So don't you dare tell me I can't have my opinion. Lord knows if I sat up here talking about I'm a demi girl that is poly and I also identify as a bookcase, everyone will be saying, oh my God, that's valid. But God forbid I say, you know what, I'm not really the same thing as a woman. And it's like, you can't say that. Okay.
So let me also say, because I'm going to ask you guys too, do I view a man who says he's heterosexual but is attracted to transgender people as being truly heterosexual? I do not. I don't know that I would necessarily put him in the category of gay, but I would definitely put that person in the category of other, because based on the definition of what heterosexuality is when you are exclusively romantically attracted to, sexually attracted to someone of the opposite sex. And there are going to be people who say, well, a transgender woman is the opposite sex. Biologically, they're not. What I find disturbing is individuals who are who say they're straight, they identify as straight, and date transgender people. When they mistreat transgender people, or they treat them like, to Janet Mock's point, like some dirty, nasty secret that has to be hidden. I don't like that. People who use trans women or trans men for sex, I don't think that's fair. We're still dealing with human beings with emotions and feelings, and they should be treated decently. But what I liked, what Kat Blaque said was, she started to respect herself, because if you can't even be seen with me, I can't even let you have my body. And I 100% agree with that. If you have to hide me, why am I going to give that precious side of my body to you? And so I think trans people need to not settle for individuals who are going to be ashamed of them. If you're going to be ashamed of me, why are we together? Why I'm not going to give myself to you. No. And it's not just transgender women who have difficulty in the dating realm. There are trans men who also have difficulties. Take a listen to this interview with some trans men who talked about their online dating experiences and how that works out. Take a listen.
I think that the first challenge is that question of disclosure.
Usually when the conversations just stop, the first place I go to is I assume that because I was trans, they lost interest.
People use the anonymity of being online to be on their worst behavior sometimes.
The comments they send back are like, what? Question mark, question mark, question mark. How do you have sex? What is that like? Or I gotta go, a lot of times.
There definitely is this fetishization of transgender people, particularly transgender women. People are intrigued. There's a curiosity about trans women and trans men. And I'm going to give you some stats right now. I'm going to read this report from Pornhub. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Pornhub, but Pornhub did this end of year review. And this was from 2022, last year. And it talks about how trans porn rose 75% in popularity. So in 2022, porn under the transgender category increased in popularity by 75% to become the 7th most popular category worldwide and the 3rd most popular in the United States. That's according to the Tube Site's report. In addition, female to male searches were 8 times more popular than male to female searches. That was a mind-blowing stat for me. That was a mind-blowing stat for me. I thought it would have been reversed. And men viewed videos tagged as trans 22% more than women. However, women on the straight Pornhub viewed the trans male subcategory 115% more than men. The women out there on the website, they want a little razzle dazzle. So they're viewing it more than the men. This is... wow, mind-blowing. So you think people don't have a curiosity? They certainly do. And this end of year report certainly shows that. Anyway, let's just hold on a second. So anywho, let's get right to the questions of the day, because I have 2 questions. Number 1, do you think someone is heterosexual, they're straight, if they are attracted to or date transgender people? And second of all, Would you date a transgender person? If yes, why yes? If no, why no? Why wouldn't you do it? If there are individuals who feel comfortable sharing their experiences down below in the comments section to let us know that you did date a transgender man or a transgender woman, please let us know. Hey, even if you're gay, would you be open to it? Seeing that report said that, you know, gay men were more likely to date a trans person rather than straight men, and lesbian women were more likely to date a transgender person than a straight woman. Just let me know what you think, what your thoughts are down below. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much to you all. I had a wonderful birthday celebration, and I'm so glad I took the time off, but back in the studio, back to work. And I'll see you all next week, Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can follow me on Instagram at This Bahamian Gyal. And of course, consider subscribing to this channel. Give it a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends and family members. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. It'd be great if I can get past that. But baby steps. I'm doing great so far. And I'm grateful to each and every one of you who are subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much for your support and your love. I'll see you all next week, Wednesday. Bye-bye. Mwah. Take care.